A team that is underperforming, though. The Indianapolis Colts. They're underachieving, and honestly, it's time for a change. Currently, the Colts are sitting at 3-2 when they could easily be 5-0. They have one of the best O-lines in the NFL and a top-tier defense in this league. The Colts currently have a quarterback in Phillip Rivers who takes unnecessary and unneeded shots that he actually does not have to take. Rivers has 2 games this year where he has 2 interceptions. Those 2 games, the Colts lost. He's thrown 5 interceptions this year. 3 games with an interception. There's 2 where he didn't have an interception. He played very smart with the football. They actually won. But I don't feel like they performed offensively up to par. And that's not on Rivers in those 2 games. I didn't actually watch those 2 games. I watched yesterday's game, and man. Rivers was trying to force plays to happen that just were not there. And he tried to do that in week 1 too versus the Jaguars, and they ended up losing to maybe one of the worst teams in the NFL in week 1. And then everybody hyped up the Jaguars, bought in and said, maybe this is Minshew's team, blah, 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 blah. I like Minshew, but that team's garbage. You can only play with the talent that's given to you, and that talent on that team is below average. I mean, below average. But the Colts, they have above average talent on their team. Honestly, they should be one of the top 3 or 4 teams. They should easily win their division, and they should actually be one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. And right now, they are not playing up to that at all. And I'll be honest, Rivers does not need to be this aggressive with his play currently. I like Rivers a lot, and I was happy when I heard that he was coming to Indianapolis. I was excited. I liked Jacoby Brissett a lot. But last year, after Quentin Nelson got picked up and dropped on him and he got hurt, he came back, he just was not the same. And I said, okay, they paid him some money. He's getting $20 million this year, and he's the backup quarterback. He played solid last year. They actually beat the Chiefs last year on Sunday Night Football with Jacoby Brissett as a starting quarterback. I don't know what happened at the back half of the season for the Colts. It just kind of fell apart as a team. They're very young, though. And it's showing again this year that they're a young team. But I just feel like there's something missing on that offense. And it could be just the quarterbacks taking unnecessary shots and putting the team in a bad spot. But I thought Rivers was a great fit, even though it was talked about that Tom Brady, maybe he wanted to come to Indianapolis. And they picked Rivers over Tom Brady. And that's something that's wild in my opinion, because I don't know if there's that many teams that would have picked Phil Rivers over Tom Brady. The Chargers were linked to have a lot of connection. Maybe he was going to go to LA, Tom Brady. And that's where Rivers was. He was playing for the Chargers, so they clearly picked that Brady was a better option than Rivers. But they had seen enough of Rivers. They knew it was time for a change. And I thought Frank Reich and that offense was the perfect fit for him. Turns out, maybe not. It's too early to tell still, I think. But week 5, you kind of get a gist for what a team's going to be like. And this Colts team is underachieving and just disappointing me so far. They were my most underrated team coming into this season. I have the video. I talked about every key point that I thought was going to happen, and they're not happening right now. Jonathan Taylor is the number 1 back, like I said he would be. Sadly, he got that position just due to Marlon Mack getting hurt in week 1. Prayers up to him and for a speedy recovery. But I don't think they're using Jonathan Taylor correctly. I don't think they're giving him the ball enough. Feed that guy. He can run the ball. Drain the clock. If that's how you want to win the games, that's what they're playing like, just feed him the ball. Don't let Phillip Rivers pass it on 3rd and 3 to throw a pick, to force it way downfield on a play that he doesn't have to do. Currently, right now, it's just ridiculous. They're not living up to any expectations at the moment. I'm so disappointed. Honestly, I can't stress that enough. And at the moment, I'm left to wonder whether the Colts' record would be different if Jacoby Brissett was a starting quarterback. He plays more efficiently, in my opinion. He doesn't throw picks. He plays a lot more like Derek Carr, kind of conservative, but he's not going to turn the ball over. Derek Carr has 1 interception. Jacoby Brissett, I don't know what, he has less interceptions through 5 weeks last year than Rivers had this year. Rivers got 5. That's 1 interception per week he's averaging. And that's not good, because at the end of the season, if you average 1 interception per week, you just threw 16 picks. That's not good. I think a good ratio for touchdown to interception would be 3-1 to 4-1. I mean, if you play Madden, you know that that's probably like a pretty good ratio. I don't play a lot of Madden, but that's a pretty good ratio, 3-1 to 4-1. Some are quarterbacks are better than others at that, and some are not. And some quarterbacks show that you can improve that by just making better decisions and not forcing the ball. Ben Roethlisberger is proving that this year. Phil Rivers, though, is trying to force the ball. I don't know if he has a whole lot of chemistry with his teammates right now. Maybe that's why he's throwing all the interceptions, because the offseason was weird. But I think the record for the Colts would just be different. I know yesterday, the safety that the Browns got off of Rivers throwing that ball out of bounds, that's not happening with Brissett in the game. He's not taking that dumb shot and overthrowing it so far that they actually call intentional grounding in the end zone for a safety. I know that interception to Ronnie Harrison, Brissett would not have forced that pass, and Ronnie Harrison wouldn't have took that thing to the house because Brissett wouldn't have made that throw. I know that with Brissett in there, they would have beat the Jaguars because he wouldn't have forced plays to happen. He would have just let the game come to him, and that's why I like Brissett. He's more of a game manager, but he's a starter in this league, in my opinion, and he should... He just plays smart with the football, Brissett does. And while some say he doesn't take as many shots, I don't think I want that as the Colts, because the offense is built perfectly for the way Brissett plays, not for the way Rivers plays or is playing currently. Maybe Rivers can turn that around, but I don't think the Colts will announce Rivers or Brissett as the starter, for at least a couple weeks. If Rivers keeps up the play, though, they will have to explore that option because things are not looking great for the Colts. And I won't be shocked in the slightest if Rivers actually does get benched. It will not shock me at all. But now I got to talk about the Cleveland Browns, because they played in that game as well. And they are legit. I'll say it. I'm a Steelers fan. They're legit. Myles Garrett does not get the credit that other defensive ends get in this league. And that could be because maybe his actions on the field last year where he tried to kill Mason Rudolph. Maybe that could be because he's a former first overall pick. And his expectations were high from the jump. Mainly because he was hyped up to be this one-in-a-kind defensive end athlete that was playing in the game of football. But for him, I'm so happy to see the comeback story. Even as a Steelers fan, he tried to kill one of my players. Got suspended for the year. He kind of changed. It looks like he's a different type of player, but winning kind of solves that a little bit. Maybe the frustration that you had last year was there because the team was being run poorly from GM to head coach to assistants, whatever. Doesn't matter. Winning cures a lot of things. And, I'm happy to see him being successful and being smart this year. So, he's part of the reason that defense is just as good as any other defense in the league. And, while I don't really fully believe in the offense as much because I don't fully believe in Mayfield as the quarterback of the future for the Browns as of yet, I'm a Baker fan. I loved him at Oklahoma, and I want to see him succeed. But yesterday he showed he can do just enough with his arm to help them win a game. The problem is, I don't know what that game would be like if Brissett's in. If Brissett's in, even what Mayfield did with his arm, maybe that's not enough. Who knows? But it was a fun game to watch yesterday. The Browns are legit, and I just have to put that in there because I do get a lot of messages from people, especially a couple weeks ago, and I haven't mentioned the Browns at all yet this season, and they lost the first week. They looked very bad, but they have looked good ever since, and that first week was maybe just them trying to figure things out. They looked great in Dallas last week, though. They looked great against the Colts this week. They're legit, and it feels like that they have their guy to head coaching positions for the first time since Bill Belichick. And Kevin Stefanski is legit. They are sit 4-1, but it's a tough division. The AFC North. Pittsburgh is 4-0. Cleveland 4-1. And then there's Cincinnati. But Cincinnati at some point will figure it out. Not this season, but in the coming years. So they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. Whether it is give Baker his fifth-year option, which will be fully guaranteed, move on and draft another guy, or pay Baker what he's worth and not give him a huge contract. It's going to be interesting to watch, though, because, with that offense, what they're doing is very nice, but some could say that Baker could be like, maybe I deserve the money, and destroy the entire way that team is built.
BB Sports Media.